Hi, my name is Suki Wahiwala. If you want to learn the growth strategies that can grow your business to the next level exponentially, then this video is probably going to be the best and the most important video you're going to watch today. Because I am going to give you every single strategy in my 27 years of business that turned me into a millionaire at 21 and a multimillionaire at 25. Today I've been blessed to have been involved and manage over 50 businesses across the globe in 20 different business sectors. That's from property, that's from retail, importing, exporting, commodities, actually working with people in the elderly sector as well. I've been featured in publications like Forbes, spoken on the coveted TED platform, worked with the British Chamber of Commerce across the globe, featured in BBC, actually helped CEOs of Fortune 500 companies like KPMG also. I'm not telling you this to impress you, I'm telling you this because I want you to believe that I can take your business to the next level in any sector with a proven step-by-step formula that will change your world. Now that sounds like a big statement, but there's a reality to my conversation. There are eight clear areas and sectors that you need to be able to replicate in every business. Now, how can one person get from I'm having a problem with functioning and running one business to running multiple businesses? Well, there's a reality that I want you to understand. It's actually the same 8 areas that if you've got that formula, that secret growth formula, it's going to change your world because you'll be able to replicate everything you're doing in one business across 3 or 4. And it's actually the same areas. I work across all of my group of companies with the same set formula and strategy, which I'm going to share with you. You may be wondering why I would like to even help you today. Why would an established business person want to even help you and assist you? Well, the secret lies within the second video when I explained about my near-death experience in 2006. So if you'd like to just double check and re-watch that, or watch it again, or watch it for the first time, please skip back to video 2 of the 4-part video series. So in today's video, I'd like to talk to you about the 4th in the 4-part series, which is profitability. Profitability and how you can increase your sales and value within your business. Now before we get into that, I'd like to cover a little story again when I was 17 years old, way back in 1991, when my mum asked me to kind of divert my mission or vision from becoming an architect into running a failing store at the time. So the business itself was turning over what was called a profit, but it was turning over in loss, to be honest. So it's not really a profit. So getting very clear about profit and non-profit. But the situation was, in 10 months, I turned that business around with God's blessings, the universe blessing, please, if that helps you understand me better. But I turned the business around in around 10 months to a situation where it was actually making profit again. So the question lies within my question, which is how? How did that actually happen? So I'm going to cover those steps for you next. So the idea is, in business, it's all about service. It's about listening to your customer and supplying them what they want. Now, sometimes business people, we get into a situation where we try to sell people what we want. Now, we covered that in the last video in number 3 of this 4-part series. So you should be very fresh to understand and remind yourself that we listen first. So I turned the business around by listening to every single thing that each one of the current customers wanted from us. So they'd walk into the shop, and we'd have this lovely list to the left-hand side, and everything they ever asked for, because we just wrote it down. We simply wrote it down in break points of DIY, electricals, homeware, housewares, and maybe even toys and fancy goods, etc. So that's the real key. We made a note of the information and we never said no. Now, there are plenty of methodologies around saying no to a lot of things, but the bottom line is if the person's coming your way, ask yourself, why is this customer asking me something? And can I connect them with somebody I can partner with? Now, listening itself has a skill, and the skill is to understand your customer, understand their challenge that they have, or we could call it the problem that they have come up with for a solution. So they may come in for a paint that matches the original paint, or a wallpaper, or something of that sort of nature. I'm just give you an example that was real to me in my world. Now, the bottom line was, we never said no. Now, that's from an understanding of my father and my mother, who both taught us and said, people walk into the shop and you get for them what they want. And this is an old Indian philosophy. And the philosophy comes back from way back, where if you walked into any shop in India, principally, let's give you an example, a garment shop, a clothes shop. You'd walk in and the first thing they do is they say, please come in, please take a seat, sit down. And they sit you down and they make you comfortable, and they even offer you a cup of tea. Even to the stage of getting you a drink, a cold drink of some kind. They say, you must be warm, you must be hot and flustered, please relax. So then they start showing you their clothes. Now, even if they do not have the garment that you are looking for, they will bring out this pretend set of keys, and they'll give it to one of their employees and say to them, go and get this particular garment, black with pink dots, from the storeroom. Now, this bunch of keys is worthless because it's all dead keys. But they've given it to one of the staff guys who's gone out through the back door, and all he's done is he's gone back into the marketplace to find the actual garment that looks or resembles the idea you want. So in essence, you're sitting in one place and they're doing the shopping for you, which was kind of a cool thing. But then within about 5 minutes, he would come back in with a bunch load of stock, which he would percept that it's come from the storeroom. They pop it in front of you and one of the garments would get sold. But here's the deal. The deal was that the whole of the market sells each other's stock for a simple commission. So they are not worried about taking another person's sale away from themselves. They're not worried about losing the sale as long as they get the profit. The key here is which shopkeeper kept the customer. Which shopkeeper had the alliance and had the rapport with the customer, because you'll go back to that shopkeeper. This leads me into explaining that in our store, in Home Stores, which used to be the old Wahiwala & Co., which was a business that my father set up in 1967, it was like kind of a no. There was never a no. Whatever you wanted, we tried to get it for you. So for example, you could come in for a little box of screws, or you could go in with a vase or a pot or a pan. The reality was you could have what you wanted from our store. So it started to get known as the younger generation, because I reformed it into a new alliance with the young and with the elderly as well. But it became a strong community bond. Everybody knew if they wanted something, they could go to Home Stores or Wahiwala's shop and it would be there. So even when it came to the stage of when a customer like yourself walked into the store and said, Suki, can we have this particular item, maybe a 10-inch cooking pot? We'd say, yes, of course we can. If we didn't have it in the store at that particular time, and maybe I was going to get some stock, I would have physically said, no worries, we're closing at 7:30 in the evening, but we have another convenience store over the road, which is a grocery store within the family as well. I would leave the pot there with a little sticker on there with an invoice raised on there, so the customer can collect it after hours. Now the key here, if we just have a listen to this, the key here is that it was prepaid. Now why was it prepaid? Because actually I want to ensure that I'm serving a customer and not just an idea of a customer. So we would actually have them commit to it, because otherwise the customer would be going from shop to shop to shop to shop until they got what they wanted. So holding that customer is key to ensure that you're ready for that first transaction, which I call is the first step of commitment from your customer. So we took out the receipt book, we took the payment, we gave them the receipt, and that other receipt was stuck onto the product and left in the shop opposite. So it was never a problem. So this is the key to customer loyalty. Now this is what we call tribal, or in our modern word we call it having our tribe, like the inspired tribe, like yourselves listening, etc. But it's deeper than just having people who follow you. It's actually people you love and you care for, and they vice versa care for you. So it's actually having that reliability and connection and bond between you. So being able to assist them with no holds barred, nothing's going to stop me. I am going to be as ruthless as possible to try and make sure I can serve you every single time. And for you to have that reliability and honesty and integrity to know that I will get the product for you. And if I can't, I will be telling you in advance, so you've got plenty of time to find it elsewhere. Now, here is the key. The key element is to listen consistently to your current customer base, because they're the ones who will help you grow other ideas and other businesses. So what happened with that in my case? In my case, we had an idea which was a loyal customer base within 10 months, bringing me back into profitability, where people could rely, they would think of something and it would think and they'll think Suki, or they'll think of, let's say, a pot, a pan, and you'll think home stores, that's why I changed the name to, or Wahiwallas, as they all converse towards it in the local community here in Peterborough. They would think whatever they wanted, and I think, I'll go and check out Wahiwallas first. I'll go and ask him and see whether they can get hold of it. If they can't, then I'll go and find elsewhere. So I was becoming a key part of convenience within the mindset of all my customers, not just through great marketing and that sort of blasé information, but actually humility, integrity and trust, and really wanted to help them. You know, when I was younger, my father told me, he said, son, when you're going to open up this shop, realize that this is an institution. You are going to carry our family name with you. So if you're going to be proud and if you're going to be arrogant with people, then what's going to end up being is that they will stop seeing you in the light of my light. That was my father's visual light of being Wahiwala. So I always came across with eloquence, but more importantly with humility and honesty. But the key is politeness, just because you wanted to truly help somebody. And we went the 9 yards. As I said before, we shared and left the product over the road if necessary. Now, because I listened to my client base and my customer base, I could easily branch out into new, kind of exciting elements within the business. So the core business was still the same, and we always supplied and kept on top of that. For example, the core 5 or 6 areas within the productization we shared, we had that in a flow. But there's always space for innovation, for evolution, to help and serve your customers to the next level. I mean, we came in and people said, our same customer base wanted to understand about how they could fix their fridge and fridge freezers and the TVs, and also their car audio. So they had a massive level of trust with our brand and our family. So for them, we could either refer a partner, which they would have seen in the same light, which is called a referral, or alternatively, we could have actually taken advantage and sold the same product. Now, as a British-born Sikh, my father taught me, he said, son, if something is regularly and consistently being asked of you, ask yourself a simple question. Am I supposed to be supplying this? Because the universe, God, whichever you choose, may be sending you little signals. The situation was that I was being asked regularly for car audio or stereos or something of that sort of nature. So I literally decided to start to stock the stuff, and I came in with one set of 6x9s, and it's another really deep story, but assisting our current customer base. So they asked of me something and we supplied that to them. This spawned the 6th largest car audio company in the country. So at some stage you've got to realize that if you're in really great good rapport and you truly trust your client base and they trust you, you can continue to grow with them. So you might be thinking, why am I telling you all this stuff? What's that got to do with profitability? Well, it's actually a process, a growth strategy that has to be followed step by step. There are 8 fundamentals that need to be covered, as we covered already. You must follow them. If you remove any one of these processes, what happens is the business doesn't work in its full entirety. So if you neglect any one of these particular areas, the business will pay with lack of profitability, turnover, and commitment from your client base. Increasing your profitability within your business, whether it's a coaching, consulting, or a physical shop, retailer, importer, any business property of any kind, the key element to remember here is there is a strategy and a process to be followed. And it is actually just as simple as following some step-by-step process, which I'm about to cover for you. Before, if you don't mind, I'd like to cover 9 causes of bad profitability or reduced profitability in your business. So, challenge 1 could come up with no or poor product knowledge. This basically means that whatever you're selling, you truly do not understand that product or even the solutions it provides. So the key here is to sign up your brain into actually looking at extracurricular knowledge and activity to understand every aspect of benefit for your product, and then looking at how the customer requires your product and their challenges and how this creates the solution. So it's really that important, because if you have poor product knowledge, you will reduce your sales and you will reduce your profitability. The second point is to actually understand your customer. So the second point of challenge, which most people get across, is not actually truly knowing the customer base, thinking that, well, I've opened up the shop and whoever walks in is my customer, without me actually truly understanding them. Now, if you can hark back to a convenience store, I think the matrix or the map of the UK has kind of changed when it comes to the local convenience store. But once upon a time, you'd walk in there and the shopkeeper, male or female, would know you from a distance and say, "How's your dad?" So these little things of actually understanding your customer base is key. Which brings me into the third element. The third element is having no sales process. This means that just randomly, if somebody comes in for a product, I'll just supply you that product and bye-bye, and off you go. Having no pre-sale and no post-sale communication. This is really, really powerful. You must remind a customer why they deal with you sometimes. So having no sales system is another challenge that people have. Now, number 4, this is actually quite interesting because most people perceive they've got a strategy, a set strategy of making a sale, but there has to be a consistency in your strategy. There has to be a reason why you're using a particular sales technique or a close. You've got to understand the customer in front of you. So people using random techniques is number 4, where they can just where they're trying many different ways of making sales, whether they're forcing somebody to buy a product or whether they're not even asking for a product. They're all using it in random format. The key here is to understand how each customer requires a particular product. The second part to this scenario as well, that the mismatch can also happen in a scenario where you yourself are giving the wrong product to the customer, where unknowingly you're offering them the wrong product. If it's knowingly, then that's absolutely wrong. But sometimes you can give a product to a customer in error. So they may not be very clear in asking, I am specifically looking for a bottle of water, and you might be giving them a coffee again. Does that make sense? So just because they wanted some kind of lubrication and hydration for themselves. So the key here is to truly listen and understand the customer's needs. There is number 7 now. Number 7 is actually very important, as all of them are, but these are challenges what people are actually having within their business. For example, not even knowing and understanding where their break-even point is within the business. This means that basically if you have a £1 product and you have a £1 margin, so a 100% or a 50% margin on the product, the situation is that this profit position it never really truly becomes profit until you hit your break-even, which is covering all your expenses. Up until that point, it is a contribution to your expenses. So don't please make that mistake of having a fixed cost of, let's say, £1,000 a month and making sales up to £800 and percepting that you're making a profit, because you're not. The moment you make £1,001 is when you've actually made that 1 or 50 pence profit. Does that make sense? Number 8, now we're getting into kind of the logic of the mind and the brain. So if it's bad leadership that you have within your organization, which is what the key is here, it rolls down, top down, onto every single person within the organization. And if it's you yourself who is the top leader, you need to hone up your skills of becoming a better leader and listening to yourself and learning how to listen to other people as well, the most important part. So top down motivation, or should I say respect and inspiration. These are the key things, and if you miss those out, then you're going to dive your company profits. And now the 9th and final element which we found in our own research within companies is people not actually having what we call a real sales flow, a fixed or a adapted lead generation process, meaning multiple lead generation processes. So they don't even know where their customer's coming from, and they make an assumption because they've got a shop, and people walk in and say, hey, I'm your customer, but really not asking the people where they came from and not knowing which lead generation part of your business is actually working and functioning. So I would strongly say to yourself is start to get into tracking and even asking the people, where did you come from? Did you come from internet, through AdWords, or did you come from your local press, local advertising or radio? Or are they somebody who just been referred to by somebody? Or are they a regular customer? So you should know where your customer base is actually coming from. So I hope that's been helpful to you. Just to recap, what are the 9 killers of profitability? I'll just repeat them for you. No or poor product knowledge, poor customer service and knowledge, no or poor customer sales process, not knowing how they work, using random techniques to close businesses or meeting customers and mismatching them, mismatching the product to them, and also mismatching your own skill base to their needs as well, and transaction sizes, focusing totally on big sale profit products instead of the consistency of smaller sale profits as well. And no idea, if at all, of your own break even in the company. So not even knowing when you're actually making money or having a profit, or whether it's contribution. Bad leadership and poor motivation within an organization. And finally, having no clear lead generation process and not even having a tracking facilitation or even a mixed multiple streams of lead generation. Hope that was helpful to you. So now, onto the key part of this particular video, is how to increase your profitability. Well, there's 10 areas of increasing your profitability. I'm going to give you a headliner and then we'll go back and talk about each one of them in sequence. So the first one is sales leads. The second one is lead conversions into actual sales. That means actually converting that sales lead into a customer, a paying customer, increasing the transaction numbers, and then also increasing the transaction size. Going on to profit per sale, knowing the actual profit per sale, and then cost acquisition per sale as well. How much does it cost you to make that sale? Referrals and affiliates. Do you have people bringing new customers in or not? And do you have an affiliate process or program for them as well? Cost reduction. Do you have a process that actually allows you to systematically reduce your expenses? Yes or no? And raising your prices, but raising the prices not just increasing sky high so you're out of the market price, raising the prices with the value and intrinsic value of your product as well. And also creating a process that can be actually followed time in, time out, and you can consistently repeat it and throw it away, and repeat it and throw it away. So this is increasing your leverage and actually creating a real business. So I'm going to go through them in a bit more detail now. So number one is to look at your sales leads. Do you even have a process? Why do you want a sales process? Because if you're standing on your own, running your business, as soon as you stop, your business is dead. You have no more customer leads. So you need to have what we call lead generation from multiple sources. So people are finding the customers for you as well, and also they're coming into you without you having to go and chase every single customer. So this action within itself of lead generation, basically understanding the process behind it, actually increases security within your business. It makes your business more stable, which means that if you're having a day off, that the business necessarily doesn't have a day off. This is the key to the first end of profitability. So number two, taking these leads that you've created, constant leads that you've created, into actually sales. That means converting them into money. Do you even have a process? This is key. If you do not have a process in your business, you will never get a consistent outcome. We've all heard the understanding of doing the same thing, the same way, but expecting a different result. Well, this is how we do it. We make sure that the process that works is a system that we can repeat again, again, and again, which takes off the stress from you as a human being and allows you to convert your customers in a systemized way. So, ensuring this lead converts into an actual paying customer is key to your profitability. So there's a challenge that can come up here as well. If you do not have lead generation and then convert it with a process and a system into a physical sale, you will be burning money. You'll be throwing good money against bad money, and all that means basically you'll be advertising in the wrong places without tracking them, and you'll be spending money to try and get a new customer which necessarily won't convert. But on the other hand, if you have a systemized process, you'll be efficient with your spend and you'll allow your company to consistently convert customers like a pipeline. So number three is about increasing the number of transactions in your business. So this could be how many physical sales you're making in your business, but if you remember, going back to my original conversation with reference to my Wahiwala & Co company, which is the home stores, the one-stop Aladdin's Cave, as a person came in to ask for something, because they were our regular clients, we increased the number of transactions by adding other things they required. So if they came in for one product, we added another product to it, but alternatively, we increased our trust with them and they came to us with virtually anything they needed. So the number of that scenario itself, that flavor or that flow within itself increased and built a whole new business. So we added more services to the customer service level. Number four is increasing the actual size of the transaction. So that doesn't mean just rip your customer base off and start charging them more money for the same thing. It means something very, very integrous. It means actually serve your customer properly. Because you'll find if you explain to them properly about the pros and cons of a better product over the cheaper product that they come in to buy, they will probably move themselves over to the better product because it's going to have longevity, better reliability, and maybe, for example, in the case of paint, a Dulux paint compared to a contract paint is a very different product. One is going to last 2, if not 3 years on your house without fading, and the one's going to fade year on year. So explaining to them that they're false economies of buying the cheaper product as opposed to the more expensive but slightly better quality product. So the key here is to invite your customer into a better sized transaction. So instead of them buying the cheaper product, get them to buy the better product, which will give you a higher margin, but most importantly, the profitability, but the product will be a better product for the customer. So they will come back and they will increase their trust with you. So number 5, this should be very exciting for you, is actually increasing your profit per sale. Yes, that means more money, right? So here's the scenario. That doesn't mean just bolt on more money to your product. It means look for at least one product that's kind of your savior product that you can actually add into the sale. A bit like what we call the McDonald's model, where you walk in for a burger and they say, would you like some fries? And then as soon as you say yes, they'll say, shall we make that a meal deal? Does this make sense? So they're always looking to add a product onto there to increase their inner profitability. And usually the product they're adding on is of real low cost and high margin. So that really changes the whole fabric of your business. So finding the one thing that's unique, but that's also consistently needed by virtually all of your client base. So now it brings us to number 6. And number 6 is reducing the cost acquisition per sale. But the first question is, do you even know how much it costs you to get one customer in the door? Do you even track this? Do you even look to see if it's from an affiliate link, or if it's from YouTube, or if it's from the local advertising agency, or from the local paper? Do you even know how much it costs you to get that customer in? So this is the key. The key of profitability is for you to know, what is my actual cost? And am I spending too much to acquire that individual sale? And could I be more efficient with this as well? So increase your awareness for the cost of acquisition per actual customer coming in your door. So, number 7. What we're going to look at is referrals and affiliates. Don't worry, I'm going to cover what this means in a moment. But let's bring it back to simplicity. The bottom line is, you want a customer and you want to make the sale and you want a good after service. Does that make sense? So if you have a referral, that means somebody physically saying, go and buy your product from Suki, or go and buy the product from you. So that's what we call a very simple procedure of referral. So learn to track these referrals. And if people do refer to you, why not offer them something that's going to value them as well? For example, it's something that they require and need to keep up the momentum that they actually keep referring to you. Or more importantly, just because you want to help them. They've just helped you, so why don't you want to help them? Does that make sense? The second half of this is when we talk about affiliation. Now, an affiliate is somebody who is actually a professional or any specific person who actually wants to be like a salesperson for you, who goes out into the marketplace and sells your product for you. And they basically get a commission link back when your sale has happened. So if it's sold for £10, they may get 10%. So you'll probably pay £1 to them for referring that customer, but as an affiliate bond. So an agreement pre-handed. So this happens quite regularly when you look at YouTube scenarios. When you see at the bottom of the link, at the bottom it says, please use this link and get this for 30-day free trial. But the moment you actually become a member of that vertical, they give a payment to the person who referred them. So just to keep it simple for you, very, very simple. An affiliate and referral. The referrer is the action, and the affiliate is the person who's physically giving you the lead. Does that make sense? So if you haven't thought about people becoming your extended salespeople, this is a key element of increasing your profitability. So number 8, this is kind of tricky, but I'm going to make it really simple so you've got it for today. I am so hot on wanting to make sure that you get real content from these videos. So it's cost reduction. Now this does not mean just about reducing your electricity and your gas or your office space or your business transactional staffing, etc., and your accountant's fees, etc. This is deeper. What I want to cover today is how will this actually affect your profitability? Well, there's two ways of increasing your profitability. If you have a market sensitive product that has to be sold for, let's say, £2, and it's costing you more, or it's costing you, let's say, £1 to purchase, and what you need to do is to increase your profitability. Usually you increase it to £2.20, and I'll cover that in the next conversation of how to do that. But there is another method, and the other method is actually to drive your cost down. So you could, in essence, buy it directly instead of from a wholesaler. Alternatively, you could go and speak directly to the manufacturer. Like in this day and age, a lot of us are going back to China and buying it directly from the manufacturer themselves, which reduces the actual cost. This has an added benefit and an added what we call an Achilles heel. It now means that you must be selling the stock, otherwise you're going to get stuck with lots of dead stock. So that in essence reduces your profitability. So we're looking at the happy medium of increasing your sales, but also reducing the cost transaction per actual individual product. So reducing your electric, your gas, your overheads, utilities, your staffing, maybe your own living costs at the start of a business to help it grow. But then you also need to decrease the product purchase cost. That's the key. My father used to teach me when I was younger. He said, son, if you have a sensitive product in the marketplace, reduce your cost. So now number 9. This is getting good, isn't it? Well, it should be, because this is the real key step strategy to increase your profitability in your business. Okay, so number 9, we're going to talk about raising prices. Ooh, that can get quite painful, couldn't it? Because sometimes you're thinking, I don't want to raise prices because if I raise prices, it makes me feel as though I'm ripping people off. Well, actually, there's where integrity comes in. Before you increase your prices, you must understand it's about integrity to ensure that you're not just ripping people off. I don't believe in that. So I do believe very, very powerfully, if you're going to increase prices, there has to be a system and a process for it. So if you have a sensitive product, or if you have key customers regularly buying, let's say, your phone cases from you, or a bottle of water, whichever you look at it, and they're paying £3, but it doesn't mean just all of a sudden increase your price and make it £5. You can incrementally increase the price. So I'll give you an example. If you want to increase it 10% per annum, why not do it this way? Why not increase it 5% in 6 months and 5% again? Which actually means more than 10% increase, but the actual reality is that the customer really won't feel the pinch. So they'll be very comfortable to continue to serve you. Here's the key point. You must have a focus on the word I just said, which was serve. You must be honest and integrous with your customer base and continue to serve them. And if you're going to increase the price, there's something that I always used to do before doing this, incrementally, is to offer more value and remind the customer why they buy from you. So then increase your prices thereafter. I hope that's helpful. And finally, number 10. Number 10 is to encompass all of what we've just been speaking about, encompass it all into a process. Actually set a process to do this on an annual basis, a quarterly basis, a monthly basis, something that helps your business with a system step by step. So incorporating, if I just cover for you, sales leads. What's the conversion ratio of your sales leads? The increase in your transactions, the transactional size, not just the increase in quantity, but increasing in size. How about the profit actually per sale? What are you actually making? When's your break even? Cost acquisition per sale. How much is it costing you to buy that product? And also the referrals and affiliates. Remember, referring people and affiliate programs which are partners, strategic partners within your business. Also the cost reduction of your main business and the purchase price. Increasing your prices annually, but with a system, step by step, incremental process. And then finally, to encompass it all together, create all of this into a step-by-step process. I hope you've enjoyed how to increase your profitability. So now that we've learned how to increase our profitability, the question is, what action do I take? If you remember, I don't want this to be a video just sticking yourself about actually learning and becoming that self-helper. I want you to help yourself. So it's time for the action. Get the piece of paper again, get ourselves a little pen, and what I want you to do is to ask yourself an inquiry question. So the question could be something like this: what is the number one strategy for increasing my profitability that I'm going to action? And the question is, how do I get there? Well, it's very simple. Get yourself the DFT process clear in your mind. So I want you to DFT, which is daily focused time, which action is going to be the best strategy for you to take steps forward to increase your profitability. Now, if you didn't watch the DFT process, it's not a problem. Don't worry. Don't worry if you've just caught this as the fourth video of the 4-part series. Up there is the video 2. So just go back and watch the DFT video 2 and absorb it all, and it'll teach you the process of being able to get yourself from a very large list of messed up environment down to 10, 5, 3, and down to the actual action you're going to take. So, get up the pen, write down the DFT, go through the whole process, and what you're going to end up with is the #1 strategy that you can actually take today to increase your profitability. Now, I want you to think very, very simple about this and say, if it's a big strategy and you're thinking, I don't know where to start, it's really simple. Get yourself out of procrastination and back into action. Action is the key. It's just simply split it into 3 so you can take the action bit by bit. So come on then, if you don't mind, let's get on with it. Take the action today. So now, it's a very humbling scenario for myself that we've come to the end of this 4-part video series. I hope that you've enjoyed it and it's been helpful in opening up your eyes to possibilities of how you can take your business moving it forward in life. And I want you to understand that those simple and easy steps will actually create giant growth within your business. So please don't hold yourself back, go for it. So if you've enjoyed this 4-part video series and educational blueprint, I just want you to be my guest one more time. Just take that one more action. This Sunday, I have an amazing training that I'm about to deliver online. It's actually my Business Growth Accelerator blueprint. That means not just the 4 areas, the whole of my blueprint. I want to share this with you live on a webinar this Sunday. So please be my guest and join us. If my training has created a little bit of vibration within yourself and got some questions going within you, please don't hold back. Now, on Sunday when you come and join us on our training, you can share those questions with me and I'll do my 100% utmost best to ensure that you get the answers that you deserve. Keep growing, keep learning, onwards and upwards.